the best training approach. But there will be something else. Again, step by step, we have the vision that we are taking also the data from the doctors when they have checks in the beginning of that, because then, and also normally in newspapers they're writing something, and then you could also collect, is this corresponding to that what you have seen there. Then there was a question, you have said there are systems that will do this, so that they're tracking what we are doing, and where we need the input from the clubs is, let's say that we put it this way. We need people from them that they are defining. We make a video clip, and then they have to tell us what every movement is. So we need a guy who will tell this is, in this case, dribbling, or a doctor. It's so important that he's moving in this or that way. But this is the task of the people which are helping the coach. So on one side, the senders, the topic what Valentin was presenting, we will add value and get some other topics to this. But this is very important to do with the people. The next thing is we want also to understand with Fitbits how they are moving, because there you get also then the heartbeat, the heart rate, maybe you will find out how he's breathing and so on, and then you are combining this, and then you could say if you are doing this exercise you are recovering much better. So this is not what we are creating now. We have done for this year, we are working in the moment with gyms in Serbia, where they're taking an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or whatever, that they get their personal training, and they see exactly when they have done the exercise what's happening. And this we could again adapt to this what we are doing with the soccer clubs, with this training to add value, to create much more benefit to the data. Yeah.
This might be off topic, but I was curious, like, this is a lot of data to be analyzed and worked on. Is this all done in the cloud, or? Like?
It depends, because again, there's data privacy. There was a question to get this data. Look, if we're also discussing with the basketball club how we could get a better fan experience. The problem is the club is not owning the catering. So if, for example, you are sitting, so I hate if I'm in an arena to go in the break to get some drinks, because I'm waiting there for 10 minutes and then the break is over. So you are ordering, so you would know exactly how much beverage is taken, and then the owner of the club would go to them, please, you make so much money, give me money back. On the other side, they could make a much better dynamic pricing. No? So so to get the data, it's difficult, because if you own the data, you are the king. So, but we are thinking, okay, no, it will be either in the cloud or on premise, but definitely because the clubs have not so much money, and then it will be in the cloud. So, based on the time, I say, what are the possibility application statistics? So, we will track the activities during the training, and again, this makes a coach and trainer better. Then we could access both current and potential ability for each player, because then you could make the training unique for them. They want to predict, because if they have not the budget, so they could not buy so much player, but they are playing in the normal league, they are playing in the cup, and they are playing in the Champions League. So there you could predict based on the values of your body when there could be an injury. And then, and then also, this is if you, for example, the last game video clip. What people are now looking is that you have a clip from training from Ronaldo or Messi or from the prepare, and then looking, has this young player similar movement? And then what is needed to bring it on this level? So, because in France they're investing a lot of money in Marseille and in Nizza to bring these people up, and if you bring them too early, like this Danish soccer player, which is with 16 by Real Madrid, so this is too early. So how you are able to bring them up? Yeah? So this is where we are seeing also potentials.
But how do we get the historical data, for example, for predicting injuries? So you need to have historical, like labeled data. For example, this is a pattern, and after that, some injury happened in order to learn that for the future.
Okay. One thing is you need the video clips, so that you say, okay, the last 5 years. Somebody asked, we are using in the moment back 5 years. Because again here, then normally every club has its own video clips. Mm-hmm. So the next thing is, and they have also done something with it, so maybe you could use it or not. Then you have your statistics, so your structured data. And then you have also shown this with Wimbledon. So we will go back in Twitter, in Facebook, you will go on the web, you will read newspapers or whatever, and then you could make correlation between this. And then if you want to be very careful, when I've played basketball, I hate to play at 9 in the evening because my body was not for this build. So and maybe you will also see, if somebody is not used to this, that you get a much easier an injury. So you will take them the time, you know when it was played, and then maybe you want also to know what was the temperature, was the humidity, and this has all this impact. So step by step to get the best model. So. And this is work. So at first you have to discuss with them, could I get the data? And then they have no clue what kind of data. Then you have to explain them, and then is it privacy or not? And then, so it's not that someone is saying, I get this. So you could buy data here from Sportradar, then you could buy data from FIFA, but it's a lot of money. There are not so many open sources, so this is also a field that it's not relating only to sport, it's also relating to whatever, finance and marketing and sales.
You said it before, the biggest, actually for soccer, the biggest data source is the Opta, but you have to pay a lot. Yeah. But it's crazy, they are really, but only for professional, and only for matches. So you don't have the training data. But training data, by example, in Marseille, the goalkeeper's trainer, he records all the sessions with 3 cameras for each player. So they have it. Just have to do a partnership with them and be sure that it will be confidential data.
Yeah, and then you could combine it to games. So we have done in this case. We have predict a medium distance shooter what drives the dominant defender against its opposites. And then what else? So again, when you have this data, then you could make the connection what we are doing with Lightning, because then you understand why the hell this player is very good. Or the other thing is this year the task was who is the winning underdog. So if you know now how the training was, and then you have the data, why the hell, so in Germany, why the hell to that time Hoffmann has has won every time, then you could make them find out what is behind it. So.
And this is very different depending on sports. I guess I read that in soccer it's quite common that like the bottom 10 teams can have a chance against the top ranked team, but in other sports like I guess baseball or something, it's or basketball, it's almost always the favorite team wins, because there seems to be less variance between who is actually the winner. Did you see some of those effects as well, or?
In the moment they're discussing in the Premier League why the hell Leicester has won.
For example.
So, and there are reasons behind this. But also to come to you, what you asked for the next step. Well, I've read the book from Daniel Suarez. It's called Killer Decision. And behind this was, if you look in the, when I've looked at the World Soccer Championship, they've only said you have to do this and this. Why they're not thinking about a tactic like swarm intelligence? So this would be the next step, which you could prove with this technology, with some algorithm, how you could. Then I believe Leicester will not win only one time.
What does swarm intelligence means in that context?
Because normally you are saying this in the past in the NBA, and also normally if you have the most points, you are the best player. But it's not true. Maybe the player who has anticipated 5 passes before that he could make this is the best player. So is Messi the best player, or is the player Iniesta, or was it this guy that he was so good? So, and this is in the moment they have to change the view on the game in a different way, and also to learn from, for example, Arns, why the hell they are protecting the king, and why they have things. So there's a reason why they are successful. So maybe you have also to find out why a small and not so highly expensive team will win.
And I guess, especially in team sports, it's probably not like the individual actors that you should focus on exclusively, but like the connections and the correlations between the network of players playing together. So it's for example, the Messi example you brought is very popular. That it's kind of clear that he performs best because he has all the surrounding players around him. So he would probably be like less of a good player, or still a very good player, but not as good as he is in another team. So, or in another system. So in all those, I guess it's very hard problem to solve.
But even I would say, if you have a subject matter expert, this person will be able already to tell you when Messi plays well, what is the right role that is having more impact on his performance.
Yeah,
So
I'm not sure. For me, it's case Bayern München. They're buying every time young players. Then they are in a team with good players, and at the end they have no success. So there are a lot of examples. Okay, the tactic was only if the others have not the best players we have all, then we win everything. It's also a tactic, but the discussion we have with Chiro is really who is the best player, what is the best team to work together, and it's like also in the movie Moneyball. It's not that someone looks good, that he's playing very well. So.
For the players, coaches used to say that they have 4 pillars on which they are working. It's the physics, it's the tactic, it's the cognitive capacities. I forgot the last one, sorry. I said the physics, I said the cognitive, the tactic, and sorry. It's evident, the last one is evident, the technique, yeah. And you have, the problem is that technique, you can easily train it, and the physics also. And now most of the people are at the the best level on these two pillars. But now the coach are more working on the tactic and on the cognitive.
Maybe let's take the discussion to Vabiro. I loved your presentation, so thanks for all the insights you gave here. And I think there's a lot more to talk about. So thanks again.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.